Hello friends,
Namaste dosto.
I'm John,
And I'm Aradhana.
and I'm American.
And I'm Indian.
We've been married since 2016, and today we're going to answer some of your questions. So, question number 1 is, where did you meet each other? In America or in India?
In India.
We met each other in India in the state of Uttar Pradesh. Okay, number 2 question is, how did you meet each other? And I'll answer this. Is it okay if I answer this one? Okay, I'll answer this one. So actually, Radhana was working in a bookstore, and I just happened to come across this bookstore. I like books, so I decided to go inside the bookstore to see what kind of books they have. And immediately when I saw her, I thought she was very beautiful, and that's how we first initially met. I kept coming back to the bookstore to pretend to look at books, but instead I wanted to get to know Aradhana better. And that's how we met. We have a full video that gives more details if you want to watch that. We'll give the link at the end of this video. Okay, this question is, how her relatives met you for the first time. So yeah, meeting her relatives for the first time, I was already in India. So I came to her house where she lives. A relative took me over to her house by motorcycle, by his bike, and we had dinner at her house. I was pretty nervous. I think Aradhana was a little bit concerned that I might not be able to talk to her father because her father still does not know much English. He mainly only speaks Hindi, and Aradhana didn't know how well my Hindi was, but we found out that I could communicate with him pretty well. It was a good time. I was a tad bit nervous. I'm sure everybody was a little bit nervous, but yeah, it was a good time. We had dinner together, and we had a lot of good conversation. They asked some simple questions, like what kind of education do you have? What did you study in school? What do you think about India? What do you think about my daughter? Things like that. But yeah, they also gave me and Aradhana a lot of alone time so we could talk about some important things as well. So yeah, it was a good time. Okay, this question is, how does your religion cooperate with hers?
We are same religion, so that helps a lot.
Yeah, we were the same religion before we even met each other,
Yes.
So that was not a problem.
My parents were same religion as John's parents, so there was no any problem regarding this.
Okay, this question is, it's to me, but I think I'll have Aradhana answer it too. What is your best experience in India? And I would have to say my best experience in India was getting married to Aradhana. I mean, come on, right? That's one of the most important decisions you make in your life, one of the most important things that happens to you. So obviously that was the best experience I've ever had, was getting married to Aradhana. And having Aradhana as a wife has made living in India just so much better, and having family, having in-laws and a sister-in-law has made living in India a whole lot better because they've taught me a lot more about India and Indian culture. So yeah. So this question is, why did you marry an Indian? And I think that's an interesting question. So it wasn't like ever in my life I was focused on getting married to someone specific from a certain ethnicity. Like when I was younger, I thought maybe I might get married to an American because back then that's all I was around Americans. So even when I came to India, I actually didn't think I was going to get married at all. And then why I married her is because first I saw her and thought she was very beautiful. Second, so right when I met her, I did not decide I was going to marry her. We actually we dated. We had a lot of conversations about religion, about life, about different values. So I realized she had the same values that I have.
And we make sure that our parents, they are totally agree with this. Like, we don't want to hide anything. So my parents were involved with us in everything.
Yeah, and I also, I realized I really liked her parents. I really liked her sister. I liked her family a lot. As I got to know her more and more, I thought, hey, you know what? I think I'm going to get married to an Indian, and that's really exciting. So it was more about her specifically, what I liked about her. It wasn't necessarily like, oh, I need to get married to somebody from this country. I could have gotten married to anyone as long as we felt like we were a good fit for each other. Yes. Do you get a lot of criticism for marrying an Indian? I think that's a good question. I would say in America, we don't get that much criticism at all, right? Yeah.
No.
No, yeah, here in America, we don't get much criticism at all, which is interesting because a lot of people these days are saying Americans are racist, which I would say they're not at all. I would say that our intercultural marriage is much more accepted here than it is in India. I would say most of the criticism that we get is from Indians and online, not in person. But yeah, a lot of people online, which is really unfortunate. But there's also a lot of Indians who give us a lot of good compliments and love our marriage as well. But I would say that's where most of our criticism comes from Indians online who don't like the idea of intercultural marriage. And it's really unfortunate. I wish that they would change their minds about that. The question, does she speak English or does she have an accent? My wife speaks English, and yes, she has an Indian accent, which I think is wonderful. I love her Indian accent. I like that uniqueness about her. I don't want like both of us to sound like robots and everything be the same. I like that she has an Indian accent. I love everything Indian about her. This one was, do you have any single friends for me to get married to? And someone else said, I want an American husband. I actually made a complete video about that for Indians who want to get married to Americans. It's actually what it's called, Indians who want to get married to Americans. I made it a few months ago, so go and watch that video. And to actually answer your question, no, I don't have any single friends, so I'm sorry. Okay, this is, what is your favorite Indian song or film? And I would have to say, my favorite Indian film is the very first Indian Bollywood film I ever watched, which is called Three Idiots. I love that. I love the main point of the movie. I think the acting is excellent. I think it's actual hilarious movie. It's just wonderful. So I guess that's what I'm going to go with right now. As far as songs, there are a lot of Indian songs I like, but I honestly don't remember like the titles of the songs.
But do you like Punjabi song or do you prefer Bollywood or South?
That's a good question. I like Punjabi songs. I do like some Bollywood songs as well. Asher is now in the video. Okay, what about you? What is your favorite Indian film or song?
That's a big list. You know, I'm a very big fan of 50s and 60s song. I know I sound very old, but something about 50s and 60s, you know, it just sound very different than the songs now. I do have, but I do like a 90s album song. I forgot the name, but I think you all are familiar with the Maine Payal Hai Chankai, something like that. And there's another one, Churi Chokhanke. I think that's a really good song, especially for dancing. And I remember, you know, dancing myself alone in the room just with the song. And all like, you know, slow and not like, I don't like a lot of music. I prefer like a soft kind of song. So that's my favorite. But I cannot just say one because there's a tons of nice Indian song, you know, you cannot just actually choose. And we have really good singers too. So it's really hard to choose one.
Okay, this next question is, what is your biggest culture shock in India? So that's obviously for me, but then I'm going to ask Aradhana, what is her biggest culture shock in America? So my biggest culture shock in India is just how different the places I have lived in India, how different they are from the place where I live in America. So for example, when I first came to India, I was completely shocked about how there are cows and bulls that walk around in the cities, in the streets. I was completely shocked about how there was a lot of trash everywhere. Completely shocked about all of the noise, all the cars honking their horns so much. I first lived in Varanasi, so there were lots of temples around me, and there were just loud bells. So everything was just very loud, and where I live in America is very quiet, so it was like the exact opposite. Those are some of the big culture shocks that I know right now. I'm sure I could say some others, but that's all I'm going to say for now. But Aradhana, what about you? What is maybe your biggest culture shocks in America?
Okay, so one thing I found very interesting is that, you know, in India, if somebody comes in our house and knock and say, hey, tomorrow is my kid's birthday, or tomorrow is any ceremony, then you know, we won't get, oh, what is that? You know, for us it's so normal just to say, oh yes, thank you so much, we are going to come tomorrow, thank you so much. But one thing is so different in America, it's like that don't work here. Like if somebody is getting married, they have to give invitation at least like months, like it should be more than 3 months for sure, because people are so busy here. Makes sense, right? You know, they don't have much time and they have to like plan everything very before. So if somebody, you know, you will never hear somebody coming at last moment, maybe rarely, and saying, hey, can you come tomorrow? You know, most of the time it will be, no, I'm sorry, we cannot come. So that's one thing that we are very flexible. You know, in India, we, you know, at last moment it's okay, we will always love to come and join, but it's a little bit different here. You have to just be advanced and tell everyone before. Oh yeah, another thing is the timing of, like in India, you know, our breakfast is like 10, maybe 9, you know, and the lunch will be like 12 to 1. Most of the time it is like that, and dinner will be like between 8 to 10. But in America it's a little bit different. Like the people usually do breakfast early morning, and then the lunch is like 11, which is very different in India, because that is like our brunch time. We like to just snacks ourselves, and then for dinner will be like 8 o'clock to 10 o'clock. And my parents, I remember growing up eating like 10 o'clock, and for me it was like normal thing. But now after I got married to John, you know, we have to adjust ourselves. So actually slowly I started eating like 5 to 6, and now we actually eat dinner like before 8. We try to do before 8. So that's another thing I think is the culture shock for me.
Another question is, what language does your son speak? So Asher, for the most part, speaks English. I mean, he's not even 2 yet, so right now he just has quite a few words that he just has a few words that he can say, and most of them are English. But his nana nani in India speak only Hindi to him, and he has picked up some Hindi words. What do you think is the number one Hindi word that he says?
Nana.
Yeah, he loves his nana. Even sometimes he'll find something to put to his ear and say, call nana. I would say another word that he says a lot that is Hindi is the word chichi, because his nani would constantly say chichi to him when he got his hands dirty. So he says chichi all the time now. Another question is to me, when will you ever meet your subscribers? And that's a good question. And yes, I definitely want to meet some of my subscribers. I want to wait for my channel to get a little bit bigger though, so that I can have like some kind of like, you know, celebration, like, oh wow, this channel did this well. I want to celebrate with some of my subscribers now. It might even bring like some sweets or something like that to give to some of my subscribers who I can meet with. I want a good reason to celebrate with them. And right now my channel is still a little bit small. So I'm going to wait a little bit longer, but trust me, I will meet with my subscribers sometime. Okay, let me see. Spices in India versus spices in USA, which is better?
India.
Oh, right there.
There's no any question. That's not even a question. Yep.
So what is the difference? I like both spices, but I really love Indian spices also.
Well, one thing, Americans don't use much spices. And India, we use almost all kind of different nice spice. Plus, I think there's something difference, because in India I use the same spice and it tastes so good. But when I come in America and I tried the same recipe with the same masalas, but masalas don't taste same to me. Now I know it can be me, I can be very wrong, but it just doesn't taste like the same like in India.
So,
I don't know what's the difference.
So you're comparing like Indian spices in India to Indian spices here in America. But right? Is that what you're saying right now?
Yeah.
So yeah, she makes a point. It's a little bit different here. But you would even say Indian spices are much better than American spices too, right?
Oh yeah, I'd see. I'm not being very, what's the word for?
Bias?
Yeah, something. But here people usually use like paprika, maybe like black pepper that also like tiny bit, and salt of course, and maybe like other spices too. So it's a little bit different. I mean, in India we use like at least five or six nice spices. So yeah, it's definitely different here. But I think my mom's in-law cooking is still good. I really like what she make with her spices. It's not like very bland. She really know how to use the spices, whatever she use, and it's so good.
This question is: do you like Indian food, and what do you like to eat the best for every day? Yes, I love Indian food, and I would say after living in India, I have grown to love Indian food even more. So a lot of typical answers from Americans is they like chicken tikka masala or butter chicken and naan, which I do like those things, but I'm so glad that I've learned about other Indian foods as well. I really love veg Indian foods. I think Indians are really good at making good veg foods.
What's your favorite veg then?
So my favorite Indian veg food is by far palak paneer. I absolutely love palak paneer, but when I first heard about the ingredients of palak paneer, I thought it was going to be awful, and now it's my favorite veg Indian dish by far.
What about chola bhatura?
I love chola bhatura. The thing is, I've eaten chola bhatura so many times that I'm a little bit tired of it right now, and I need a break from chola bhatura. But I love palak paneer. I love all kinds of paneer.
You're right. I keep telling the friends here that India is not all about chicken tikka masala. India is more than chicken tikka masala and naan. I mean, we have like hundreds of nice food that foreigners they never tasted, and they only know chicken tikka masala. But I really want to tell them to go and try another Indian food.
So someone said, where do you live? And I think they asked that question because obviously if you can see behind us, we're not in India right now. Maybe it's not that obvious, but a lot of our videos have been in America recently. We live in India, but right now we're in America visiting my parents for a little bit. We're going to come back to India soon. Someone did ask, when will you come back to India? It's going to be very soon. But yeah, most of the time we're actually in India. And someone asked, do you feel anything different here? Yeah, I really, it's a hard question to answer. Yeah, I feel very different in India. When I first came to India, it was really hard to adjust, but now that I've adjusted, I love living in India. There's lots of positive reasons to live in India. One reason is that in America things are so expensive, and India has a lot better public transportation. In America, you pretty much have to have your own car and you drive everywhere. I enjoy public transportation in India because I can just get in and go anywhere I want and not have to worry about driving somewhere. But yeah, I feel something different in India for sure. All right, I think that's all of the questions. Almost all of them, right? Where did you meet? How did you meet? So earlier I answered my best experience in India, and so now Aradhana wants to share her best experience in America.
My best experience is, coming and visiting my Sasu Ma and Sasurji, because, they are such a lovely people, and it's just so good to come and, just stay with them for a few months. And they are, and just both people are so funny, especially my Sasu Ma. She just loves to sing and dance, and she have different vibe, and then she make me learn different type of cuisine, yeah. And yeah, we people here are so good. Most of the time the people I met here are really nice and lovely. They really appreciate. And I like food here too, Weather here is so good, especially in summer. I don't like winter here. It's not my favorite because, I grew up in a summer area, and I'm not used to so much of winter just coming. Plus, right now it's so beautiful. It's a fall, right?
Yes,
it's a fall. So all the trees like orange, red, all different colors. It's just lovely to see here. Yeah, it's very quiet place. I mean, where we're living is pretty quiet. It's good to come, and stay away from little bit busy place and come and visit your in-laws, and it's a lovely experience, especially for Asher. They really love him, and yeah, he's really enjoying here. So I think I really love coming and visiting America sometime. But I also love to go back to my home place, India.
So this is all the questions we're going to answer for now. We might make another video where we answer some more questions, but this is all we're going to do for now. We answered a lot of questions. Thank you for your questions. If you want to ask any more questions, you can in the comment section. I also want to make an announcement about smartphone giveaways, is that smartphone giveaways are actually not helping my channel. So sadly, I have decided to stop doing smartphone giveaways. So if some of you are looking for smartphone giveaways hidden in my videos, you can stop doing that because it's just not really helping my channel like I thought it would. So we're not going to do that anymore.
Maybe in future.
Maybe in the far, far future, we'll do something even better. But yeah, for now, make sure you watch our other videos about India, about Indian food. Bye bye, Dosto.